Mr. Chairman, I rise in support of the amendment.
Gentlelady move to strike the last word.
I do.
Gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I just said, I rise in support of this amendment. I think it's a very, very important one. The bill nullifies the EPA's rules to require boiler and incinerators to reduce their emissions of toxic mercury. That's really quite a sentence. It requires, the rules require that boiler and incinerators to reduce their emissions of toxic mercury. And in doing so, this bill nullifies the mercury reductions in our country that would have been achieved, and it indefinitely delays, not just for a given time frame, it's indefinitely delays the implementation of any replacement standards that EPA issues. Now, my friend Mr. Whitfield said earlier today that the bill does not provide for an indefinite delay of any new rules. That's false. It's false. The bill clearly states that facilities have at least 5 years to comply without any hard deadline for compliance. That's the definition of an indefinite delay. Our Republican colleagues also claim that mercury pollution from dirty boilers and incinerators do not harm public health. That's quite a stand. That is quite a stand. I think it's terrifying myself in a civilized society that this is not going to damage anyone in their health. They blame China, even though the U.S. facilities are emitting toxic mercury pollution from smokestacks right here within our borders. I acknowledge that there is some that does come from China. Are we going to replicate China? I don't think, though, that's the gold standard for our country. The mercury released here at home is just as toxic as mercury released anywhere. That's how toxic it is. Ours is not less toxic because it's U.S. It's the same horrible, dangerous stuff. And how toxic is it? You know, if there are a lot of things under attack here in the House of Representatives, but I think one of the most serious attacks is the attack on science. We're coming up with a lot of political science for underlying legislation. Listen to what the National Academy of Sciences has said. They stated unequivocally that mercury is a powerful neurotoxin. The National Academy of Sciences has stated that mercury is highly toxic. They state, and I quote, "Exposure to mercury can result in adverse effects in several organ systems throughout the lifespan of humans and animals. There are extensive data on the effects of mercury on the development of the brain in humans." The National Academy of Sciences has also stated that exposure to mercury can cause mental retardation, cerebral palsy, deafness, blindness in children exposed in utero, and sensory and motor impairment in exposed adults. This is stunningly shocking. This is not Republican pollution, Democratic pollution. This is something that will harm our people. Why would we not protect them? Why would we not protect them? And the National Academy of Sciences said again, and I quote, "Chronic, low-dose prenatal mercury exposure has been associated with impacts on attention, fine motor function, language, and verbal memory." The National Academy of Sciences has stated that prenatal mercury exposure has, quote, "the potential to cause irreversible damage to the developing central nervous system." But our Republican friends say we shouldn't worry about mercury pollution from boilers, incinerators, cement kilns, and power plants. I know who I trust, and it's not the phony baloney political science around here. I'll put my money any day on what the National Academy of Sciences says. They are the gold standard in our country. This is not something to be fooled around with. This is a huge danger to our people. This amendment is straightforward. It states that the bill does not stop EPA from taking action to clean up toxic air pollution from an incinerator or a chemical plant or a manufacturing plant with a dirty boiler, if that facility is emitting mercury or other toxic pollutants. I urge my colleagues to vote for the amendment, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Michigan rise?